he or she sacrifices himself or herself in rendering compassion, in doing charity, sacrificing many, many times. Even the body. How many times? Numberless. Like the sand grains of the Ganges, little grains of the Ganges. So that's a comparable figure. So if he or she do that in the practice, sacrificing bodies, many, many bodies, as many as the sand grains of the Ganges, even if they do that. And if, on the other hand, the second paragraph, a person, after listening to this sutra, believes in his own mind without further contradiction, his merits will surpass that of the former. How much more so if this sutra is written, received, held, read, recited, and expounded to others. So if you really want to compare the merit and virtue gained from following this sutra, if you believe in this sutra and practiced it, and in your own mind you're without contradiction, so this merit will even surpass, more superior to, the merit of sacrificing one's life as many times as the grains of the Ganges River. So the merits to obtain from following and practicing this sutra is tremendous, is immeasurable. Even more so than people who sacrifice himself. Why is this? Why is this? Because in giving your body, you're just giving a form away. You're just sacrificing it to give and render compassion. But if you practice this sutra, then you'll get enlightenment. Finally, you become the Buddha, and you can enlighten billions and millions of sentient beings. Now, if you're just saving sentient beings by sacrificing yourself, you save his one life, you won't save his eternal life. Because even if you save one life, you sacrifice yourself to save millions of lives, for example. Then you have a lot of merits, but you haven't saved their eternal spiritual life. They still reincarnate. They still would suffer in the next life. So that kind of merit is measurable. But this merit, for example, 2,600 years ago, we have the historical Buddha who became the Buddha. And since then, the Buddhist teaching has been enlightening billions and billions of sentient beings, and there's more enlightenment to come for sentient beings. And all those who are enlightened, they already tread the sages, the path of the sages. They've gone to nirvana. They're always out from suffering. No more life and death, no more reincarnation. So you can compare the merits. It's different. So, in the second paragraph, the last sentence, how much more so if this sutra is written, received, held, read, recited, and expounded to others. So that you explain the meaning of these sutras to others, and others get enlightened, and in his mind there's no contradiction, and he will practice according to the sutra, he may get nirvana. Merit is much more. So that's the meaning of this. So, in the second paragraph, it says, believe in his own mind without contradiction in this sutra. What does the sutra mean when it says, believe in your own mind without contradiction? What beliefs? Just to mention a few important points from the preceding 14 chapters. Just from the top of my head, what belief? Maybe the first belief is very important. That covers the first 3 chapters. If a Bodhisattva has the false notion of an ego, a personality, a being, and a life, it is not a Bodhisattva. So we have to get rid of the ego, personality, being, and life. In the Chinese languages, 無我相、人相、眾生相、壽者相. Can we practice that? If you have that belief in mind, then we'll eliminate the ego. No more mental afflictions. No more I. No more attachment to the ego. If you have complete detachment from the ego, no more mental afflictions. No more conceptually arising mental afflictions. And if you completely eliminate the ego, no more innate mental afflictions that have been carried forward, accumulated from previous lives. Then you become arhat. Then no more I, all detachment. Then you attain nirvana. Never to fall back into the cycle of reincarnation anymore. So that's the belief. So it's just one sentence. It's enough. If you really deep down into it and study it and practice it and contemplate on it, a lot of merits will be obtained. And like there's another belief, everything with form is unreal. If all forms or phenomena are seen as unreal, the Tathagata will be perceived. What's the meaning of Tathagata? We already explained. It's the same as Tadatta, or it's the same as Tathagata and Tadatta are Sanskrit words. The meaning, they embrace, these words embrace a lot of meaning. It means absolute truth, absoluteness, absolute reality, or complete enlightenment, or Zen practitioners call it the real mind. Tadatta is Sanskrit language. Or in the Sanskrit language, which we always use when we speak about this absoluteness, absolute truth, absolute reality, we use Anuttara Samya Sambuddhi. Anuttara is no more on its top, the most supreme. Anuttara, no more on top, is the topmost. Samya Sambuddhi. Samya is equality, no discrimination in there, no judgment, no analysis, investigations. It's all complete by itself. Samya, Sam. Buddhi, it's realization, a full enlightenment. So everything with form is unreal. Everything with form exists. Yes, they exist. We're not denying existence. Unreal does not deny existence. Everything with form is unreal. They still exist. But they exist on causality. They exist only temporarily. They only have a transient existence. They depend on causes. We have something yet to talk about causes this morning before we go for lunch. If all forms of phenomena, and that includes, of course, the sound, the taste, the smells, the touch. Remember in the Heart Sutra we just chanted, therefore, it says, therefore in emptiness there is no form, nor perception, nor conception, nor volition, nor consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, touch, body or touch. No sound, smell, taste, object of mind. So, they exist, but they're unreal. All forms, sound, smell, taste, touch, inclusive, and so on. If you can see them as unreal, if you see it, if you know, you analyze them, they are unreal. You don't attach to them anymore. Then you are gradually perceiving the Tadatta, the absolute truth. It's difficult. We always see things as they are. We're attached to them. We're attached to sounds, smell, taste, touch, or object of mind. We're attached almost every thought we have. Attached to everything, especially it comes from the ego. give two more examples on the belief in our own mind without contradiction. What does that mean? We believe in this sutra without contradiction. What do we believe in? All these were mentioned in the previous chapters. For example, the Dharma, it says the Dharma is likened to a raft. Even the Dharma should be forsaken. How much more so the non-Dharma? Even Buddhism, we have to let go. How much more so will be all other things that are trivial, that are not Buddhism, that are not the Buddhist teaching. But even the Buddha's teaching, we have to let go. All these others, jealousy, hatred, depression, emotions, all egoistic feelings, they are non-Dharma. They're not the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha's teaching is to overcome these. Even the Buddha's teaching has to be, we have to let go of it, finally. Not to say all our jealousy and hatred and anxiety and depression, disbelief, fraudulence, negligence, deceitfulness, all this we have to let go. And there are other beliefs in the sutra, in the preceding 14 chapters. For example, bodhisattvas and mahasattvas, it says, should develop pure, clean minds and should not abide in form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and dharma. They should develop a mind which does not abide in anything. We should develop a mind. We still should develop a mind. You can't say that, oh, everything is unreal, so I don't have to help out others. I don't have to be compassionate. You still have to develop that good mind, that mind towards the sagely, treading the sagely path, but you develop it without attachment. You can't suppress your mind. You let it come out, as we always say, that the good thought comes out. You have to develop it. Your bodhi mind, you have to develop your bodhi mind, but develop it without attachment. Let's go to the third paragraph. Subuddhi, to sum up, the merits resulting from this sutra are inconceivable, inestimable, and without limit. The Tathagata expounds it to those initiated into the Mahayana or the Supreme Yana. So this sutra is Mahayana Sutra. Mahayana is more geared towards saving all sentient beings, at the same time saving yourself, not just for yourself. And some people say that if I practice the Buddha's teaching, I'll be away from reincarnation, out of samsara. That's enough for me. I didn't do any wrong. I'm saving myself. I'm saved. I'm out from samsara, out from life and death. That's not sufficient because you're only saving yourself. The Mahayana is all sentient beings have to be at the same time saved, not just considering yourself. So this sutra is initiated into all those who practice Mahayana and the Supreme Yana. Yana means wheel, the wheel that turns, the wheels that go into every direction. The wheel of enlightenment, the wheel of the highest wisdom. It rolls into everywhere. The Mahayana, Maha means the larger wheel. And the Hinayana is the smaller wheel, only rolling for yourself. A smaller car, the four little wheels, but in the big, immeasurable car is Mahayana car. Next paragraph, next page. If they are able to receive, hold in mind, read and recite it and expound it widely to others, the Tathagata will know and will see that they will achieve inexpressible and inconceivable merits that are without measure or limit. It simply encourages people to expound this sutra to all others so that all will get enlightenment, not just for yourself. And it says in here that the Buddha would know if you are doing that, if you are developing a mind not only for yourself but for all others. The Tathagata will know and will see that they will achieve inexpressible and inconceivable merits. So you are not working alone. If you are rendering your compassion, you have companions that are inconceivable. You can see, but it's just like all the bodhisattvas and arahats and sometimes spirits. They're good spirits. They're helping to promote the Buddha's teaching so that all sentient beings will receive merits and benefits from it. Not just you and me. You think just you and me trying to change the world? You think you and me trying to change our minds and people's minds? You think just you and me achievement of enlightenment? No, not just you and me. There are other existences that are working at the same time. You're not alone. We're not alone. Next paragraph. They will bear responsibility for the Tathagata's supreme enlightenment. That means all those who are practicing, reading, reciting, and promoting this sutra is actually putting on a meritorious responsibility on himself also to render towards the supreme enlightenment. Next paragraph. Wise Tripudi, those who take delight in the Hinayana and hold the view of an ego, a personality, a being, and a life personality, a being cannot listen to, receive, hold in mind, read, and recite this sutra and explain it to others. That means in the Hinayana, if you hold the view of an ego, but Hinayana people, they are contemplating on egoness too. It says that this is more directed towards all those who couldn't get rid of the ego, who attach to ego. They may not listen to, they may not follow the sutra or recite the sutra. That means this sutra, if you have the chance to listen to it, to practice it and follow it, you must have cultivated a lot of merits in the past in order to have the opportunity of accessing to this sutra. There are many causes that bring you here so that you listen and follow this sutra. Last paragraph. Subhuti, wheresoever this sutra may be found, all worlds of Deva, men and Asuras should make offerings. For you should know that such a place is just like a stupa, which should be revered, worshipped, and circumambulated with offerings of flowers and incense. That means wherever this sutra is, it's like Buddha is there. You should offer, you should worship it, you should pay your highest respect to it with offerings of flowers and incense. That just points out the importance of this sutra. You must be thoughtfully have the highest respect for this sutra, not just offering incense on the surface. Talking about thought, talking about mind, we know that our body is always subject to life and death. No exception. Everything is subject to life and death. Nothing stays permanently. When we talk about what is me, what is I, we say we have the body and mind. And in the Sanskrit language, I is made up of the 5 skandhas. The body and mind, the body being form, the mind being perception, conception, volition, and consciousness. And of course the body, it doesn't stay all the time. One day this body will go. Does not matter who you are. And it's more obvious that the body is impermanent, but it's not so obvious that our thought is constantly impermanent, constantly changing. We should know that when we're meditating. Even a thought comes out, may sustain for a very short time, and then it disappears. Every thought is coming and going, arising and perishing in an extremely fast way. If you close your eyes and meditate, a thought comes up. And you think another thought, a continuation of thought non-stopping. Ordinary people, if they don't contemplate their mind, if they don't practice meditation, they don't even know. A thought comes up, intends to do something, they didn't do it. A thought of greediness comes out, then they become greedy. A thought of jealousy comes out, they become jealous. A thought of hatred comes out, they become angry. Many, many thoughts comes out. Evil thoughts, good thoughts, bad thoughts, neutral thought. For people who practice meditation, who practice the Buddha's teaching, they watch their thought. Because all actions, all speech, thought is the forerunner for these. Every thought is a forerunner for the behavior, for the action, for the speech. And if we don't know our thought, we get carried away by the thought, then we tend to do evil actions. Killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, drinking intoxicants, or mental afflictions, greediness, hatred, jealousy, deceitfulness, all those, because we don't watch our thought. That's the reason why in meditation, what are we meditating on? In meditation, we're being mindful. It's the mind that is the most important. So meditation is to help us to watch our thoughts, or we call it mindfulness. And by the way, how does a thought comes into being? What caused the thought? What are the causes of a thought? The Buddha, in the teaching of Vijnana Matrata, or in the common English language, consciousness. There's a school of thought in the Buddhist teaching called the study of consciousness. Vijnana Matrata is a Sanskrit word. It analyzes mental activity in detail. In so much detail that there's thousands of volumes. And most universities, when they study Buddhism, they bring out this subject, consciousness, Vijnana Matrata. They study the arising of consciousness. They're not just before we go for lunch, just something that really meditators have to know about. How does a thought come into being? According to the Madhyamaka Karika in the Chinese language is Zhonglun. Madhyamaka Karika, expounded by Bodhisattva Nagarjuna. There are 4 causes for anything to come into being, inclusive of thought. These are the 4 causes that would explain everything come into being, of course, including the thought. Or not come into being, you need these 4 causes. What are these 4 causes? In the Chinese language, is 因緣此第緣，緣緣增上緣，四緣生諸法，更無第五緣. Only 4 causes, which include all causes, but they are very general terms. So what is the first cause? The direct cause in the Sanskrit language is hetu pratyaya. For those who study Sanskrit, the direct cause. The second is, what the second kind of cause is, the immediately preceding cause. In the Sanskrit language is samanantara pratyaya. That's the second. You don't really have to worry about the Sanskrit word. It's just for people who study Sanskrit. Third cause is the object cause. Alabana pratyaya. The fourth cause is the precipitating cause. Atipati pratyaya. And let me just quickly review it, and well, it does not matter. If we don't have enough time, we can always continue next time. So these are the four causes, and each have its meaning. If you know everything is caused by these four causes, Then you understand how things comes into being, how things perish, including our body, including everything, every particle, all inclusive. What is direct cause? Direct cause is the main cause, the main one, the main intention. Let's just take an example. Say we are meditating and we want an object of concentration for the samatha. Oh, here goes the bell. So it takes a long time to... Well, just remember these 4 causes, and maybe next time we explain in more detail how a thought comes into being, how everything comes into being, depend on all these 4 causes. There's no 5th. These are the 4 categories of causes, and there are no others. It includes all causes that come into being, that make things come into being. And you need to study them so that you know how things come into being, how things get happened. I don't want to rush into it, so we just start with this point. But this explanation of the causes comes from Madhyamaka Karika.